Welcome everyone to this webinar brought to you by the Israel Defense and Security Forum, IDSF. In Hebrew, our name is Bitchonistim. IDSF is a movement of reserve officers and operators from all branches of the Israel Defense Establishment who believe that strong national security priorities and staunch Zionism are necessary for Israel to be the eternal homeland of the Jewish people. Thank you to all of our viewers and supporters for tuning into these war briefings. It is very important to us at IDSF that we can share with you these war updates and analysis about this war in Israel, and that we can connect you with our experts in these very real and candid briefings. Today in the US, it is Thanksgiving, so we are especially appreciative of all of our viewers who are making time today to join us. And in the spirit of Thanksgiving, we thank all of you for supporting our work here in Israel. 6 weeks into this war, the need for IDSF is greater than ever. So thank you for your continued partnership and your support in fighting this war with us. We're joined today by Brigadier General Amir Avivi, founder and chairman of IDSF, Yifas Segel, and also Dotan Cohen. Thank you, of course, to all of you for joining us. We'll begin with General Avivi, and then we'll move into what Yifa and Dotan will share with us. General, please.
Thank you. So today, after some setbacks in the last 24 hours, there are 13 names of hostages released, and tomorrow we're supposed to get them back. And of course, everyone is waiting to see the hostages and have them back home. The IDF in Gaza today continued the operation, attacked many terror cells in Jabalia. We operated continuously also in Shifa and covering all the underground infrastructure. In the north, there is all the time fighting with Hezbollah. The IDF eliminated one of the sons of the leaders of Hezbollah in the parliament in the south, in the Radwan force. There's a huge effort behind all of this of our industries, where when you have a war in such a big scale and it's going to take so long, really keeping up the munition and all the logistics of the IDF is a huge enterprise. And there are more than 700 industries that are completely now working for the Ministry of Defense, airplanes, ships, bringing munition from the States, but also from many other places in the world. So this is a very big effort. We've seen in Judea and Samaria continuous operations in mainly in the Samaria area, but not only, in Shechem, in Jenin. Many terrorists that have been arrested. So there, the situation overall is pretty much under control. We've still seen shooting from Yemen. It looks like Iran is testing our capabilities. They are shooting different kinds of weapons. And we had to use pretty much the whole range of capabilities to deal with them. Arrow 2, Arrow 3, and also F-35. So we dealt with really all different kinds of missiles that were shot. So first of all, everything is working, but the other thing is that the Iranians are learning our capabilities. We see in the north, Hezbollah using more and more drones. We have intercepted quite a few. And also formally, the Prime Minister announced that he gave the Mossad the mission to eliminate all Hamas leaders outside of Gaza while we're operating in Gaza. I must say that all this process of releasing hostages makes it a bit unclear when the ground incursion will continue, how many days this is going to go, and also what will be the consequences of Hamas having time to get organized, which it didn't have before while there is a ceasefire. These are things that we'll have to deal with, and we'll have to see where all this is going. So at the moment, this is what's going on. Inside Israel, more and more traffic, more and more everyday life. Many businesses went back. I wouldn't say normal business, but quite normal. And this is important that, of course, economically we're able to sustain and continue working and growing our economy as we are dealing with these many challenges. So here, Moshe, the main issues, and let's continue.
Thank you so much, General. So it's a great privilege that we are joined again by Yifa Segal, who was with us last month for a briefing. It's great to see you, Yifa. Yifa is the managing director of Chetz for Israel, a nonprofit that connects world leaders, policymakers, opinion leaders, and change makers to influence the world for good and to advance Israel's national security. She is a research fellow at the Jerusalem Institute for Strategy and Security, JISS, and head of Segal's Law and Strategy. She is formerly chief of staff for Israel's ambassador to the U.S. She is also the founder and former CEO of the International Legal Forum, a proactive legal hub for lawyers, organizations, and activists from all over the world fighting against terror, anti-Semitism, and the delegitimization of Israel and the Jewish people. And she is, of course, a member of IDSF. Yifa, thank you so much for joining us. What can you tell us, in your expert opinion, about this hostage deal?
Well, I mean, I think that we all have it's a mixture of feelings. On one hand, we all understand that these are children that will be released, and we are relieved. We would be relieved to see them released and to see them safe. On the other hand, we do understand that this is something that Hamas wanted. I also understand that they're trying to to create this moral equivalent in the eyes of the world, and they're portraying it as though they are releasing women and children and we are releasing women and children. And of course, it's there's a world of difference between these two situations. Our women and children are babies and children, innocent civilians, innocent mothers, innocent women that were grabbed from their homes in the middle of the day on the Black Shabbat of October 7th, and taken hostage without any us knowing if they're alive or dead. Hamas never allowed the Red Cross or anyone else to visit them to see if they're being treated, even with the most minimal conditions. And the people that we are releasing are convicted terrorists that have committed crimes of terrorism, that went through the system of our democratic, transparent legal system, had the right to representation. Their families know exactly where they are and why they're being held in Israel. These are convicted terrorists versus innocent women and babies that were taken hostage. And so I'm very concerned about, I think it's very clever, very evil and clever. We've seen Hamas with their psychological warfare and how good they are with, creating a narrative, a false narrative, and feeding a false narrative in the international community. And I think this is a part of their strategy. And this is how we've seen them portray this exchange, this deal. And I think it's up to all of us to make sure that we make that point and we make it clear, and that we all make sure that everybody understands that this is not some kind of an equal exchange as they are trying to portray it. What they have done is a war crime, is a crime against humanity. There is no debate over that question. What we have done over the years is legally arresting terrorists, trialing them, convicting them, and imprisoning them with conditions that are, in accordance with international law, with our own moral standards, even in cases that, the Israeli society often cries out and says, we're treating them as though they're guests in the Four Seasons, and it should not be this way. So we're even sometimes taking it too far in the in the positive/negative direction. It depends on how you're looking at it. So I think this is the most important point that I want to make today about the hostage deal. And as Amir said, we're hopeful that our army will stay strong, and we will continue after this is over to fight Hamas and complete the missions of the war.
So Israel is making a deal, or has made a deal, with a terrorist, lawless entity. Can you explain how? Right. How will this deal be enforced on a legal level? Please explain.
Look, there is no legal level, and I speak to a lot of friends and colleagues from Israel and from the Jewish diaspora, and people look to the international system in the hope that there's some justice will come out of it. Let me break it to you guys: no justice will come out of the international system. Don't get me started unless you want me to go on about the ICC, the International Criminal Court, and how biased it is against Israel. There's no hope for any justice to come out of it. So the only hope that we have is that that the people in charge on our end, on the Israeli end, have created checks and balances with this deal. So you see, for example, we're not releasing all the terrorists. We're only doing it, once we get a few hostages back, then we will release some prisoners, and we want to verify and double check their identity and the authenticity of the people that are actually being handed to to the Red Cross and eventually to Israeli forces. So we're not taking the word for anything. And that's, I think, key here is to understand who we're dealing with, and they will probably deceive us in every way that they are able to deceive us. So we need to be very careful. Another thing we must remember, that every ceasefire that was agreed upon in the past, they always violated it. Even the unfortunate tragedy of the killing and taking Adar Goldin hostage in Protective Edge in 2014, that happened during a ceasefire. So we know who we're dealing with. We have to have checks and balances in place, in every single moment of this supposed deal until we actually see it come to fruition 100%. And I put my trust in the people who made the deal to do it.
Are you able to comment at all about the Red Cross and their involvement? Are they a partner for Israel on this? Do they have ne'amanut, reliability?
Look, I have no reason. They haven't given me a single reason really to trust them throughout the years. Gilad Shalit was taken hostage and was held by Hamas for 5 years. I mean, the Red Cross haven't been to see him once. It's not just that they haven't seen him once; they haven't even, they haven't raised their voices in the international arena. They haven't banged on tables and said this is illegal, this is unconceivable or anything like that. They were almost mute for 5 years. We now have 4 people, two unfortunately deceased or murdered soldiers, Lucharon and Adar Goldin, and 2 other civilians. The Red Cross did absolutely nothing to go and make sure and to see them and to give some message to their families or to the Israeli people. And now, I mean, we've been here now. This is the 7th week, and not only have they not made an effort, I mean, they're not speaking out. We're not hearing them. I mean, this is like a very basic, fundamental part of what they're meant to be doing. So to tell you that I trust them, no, unfortunately, I do not trust them at all. I want to remind you that as a part of the deal, we've demanded that the Red Cross would be allowed to visit the rest of the hostages to check on them. And until now, we haven't received any positive responses or authorizations about it, not from Hamas and not from the Red Cross, saying we will insist and we will make sure that we can do that. So no, unfortunately not, and we have to take that into account also.
So let's assume for a moment that tomorrow this all begins and hostages are released. there's some type of clause that it can be extended if Hamas releases additional hostages. This is an impossible question to answer because it's obviously not easy, but do you think it's in Israel's best interest to continue to extend this ceasefire, or at a certain point we have to resume operations?
I think this is such a difficult question here. Look, I don't envy the people who have to make these decisions because you have two bad choices that you have to choose from. I'm very proud of who we are as a nation, that we care so much about the lives of our brothers and sisters, that we are willing to make strategic sacrifices. And so, there's a balance between what we're willing to give up in terms of our leverage in the military campaign, and there's absolutely a huge advantage. Just see what is going on in Gaza to understand it. And of course, we don't know what Hamas will do to take advantage of those days, but we can be sure that nothing good will come out of what it is that they're trying to achieve. But look, I want to remind everybody that we're not exposed to all the intelligence. We're sitting at home, and even people like you and me that are more involved and more into the details, we still don't know everything because the full picture of the intelligence is just shown to a handful of people in the cabinet. So so I can make an educated guess. I can tell you that my heart says I probably would have voted for the deal, even though I don't have all the details. But I do know that we are making a strategic sacrifice of some sort, and I think that we have learned from past mistakes. And I think that the entire Israeli society is behind the IDF and this mission of completing the taking down of Hamas. And I have full faith that we will regain and complete that mission once this is over. The ceasefire is over.
Thank you so much, Yifa, for sharing this with us. We're going to take you out of the hot seat for a minute and go to our next guest, Dotan. And at the end, hopefully we'll have a few minutes to go back to you, to General Avivi, for some thoughts. So it's a great pleasure to be joined by Dotan Cohen today. Dotan, 43, originally from Jerusalem, has been residing in the moshav called Tekuma, which is on the Gaza border, for the past 15 years with his wife, Dana, who is a Tekuma native. They are the parents of 4 children, ages 12, 9, and 6-year-old twins. You have your hands full. Dotan is a self-employed entrepreneur with his own small software company, and additionally, he manages a pomelo orchard. His background includes service as a paratrooper, and he joined the village squad 7 years ago. And Dotan, we've asked you to come on today to kind of give us a little bit of an insight on the Kita Konanut, on these emergency defense squads that you have in the whole region and certainly in Tekuma. If you could just describe to us right now, November 23rd, what does your emergency squad do, and how do you train? Please take it away. Share what you can.
All right, guys. Thank you for having me here. I will skip the introduction. You gave me an amazing intro. I'll adopt it. Right now, I just came back from the reserve duty on Tekuma. Right now, I'm in Mitzpe Ramon. This is about 2 hours ride from Tekuma all the way to the south. We have been evacuated here with my kids and family. We have arranged ourselves like in a small apartment, so the life can go on. While I'm skipped from here to meet in Mitzpe Ramon over to Tekuma every few days. We are like having shifts in Tekuma right now. We are about 25 citizens of the moshav of this small village, mainly farmers. Once we have evacuated all our families, we have came back over there in order to protect our beloved village, as well as being able to give the military enough oxygen in order to perform whatever it needs. This is the reason when I get back here to Mitzpe Ramon, I'm not only helping my wife with the 4 kids. My wife, just as myself, we have careers. We have jobs that we work and operate on. We have employees that we need to take care of. We understand that this is the real oxygen, of the Israel state. So we are willing to do whatever it takes, even if I need to work on here, like on a small table within a very small room, okay, on the very south of Israel. Me, my kids, and my friends, we are willing to do whatever it takes. We have we are provide the army with whatever back it needs from our side in order for them to complete the amazing work that they're already doing. What we're doing in the Moshav right now, of course, there are lots of military around. We are also focusing not only on the current situation, but we also think and plan for our next years. We understand the situation we are here, and we are like plan, and we are doing everything that we can. So once our people and our families will be able to get back to the Moshav, to this small village, we will be able to look in their eyes, in my kids' eyes, and to tell them that everything is going to be okay and nothing like this is going to be happening. They are all protected. So we are doing whatever it takes, and we don't need anyone's mercy. We feel strong, and we are here to stay.
Thank you so much. Would you just mind clarifying? Maybe you said it and I missed it. How many people are on this defense squad, and what level of preparedness do you have? You know, in the
Right,
U.S.,
we are around 24, 25 personnel. Most of us has been recruited like 7 or 10 years ago. At the end of our we can say the real reserve duty, most of us have been paratroopers. Troopers. Me myself, I was a paratrooper. This is actually because I'm now has been joined the reserve duty. This is, and I'm only 42 years old, and this is going to be my 4th medal of Israeli operations. Back in 2006, I've also been in South Lebanon. It's not only me, most of the friends over there have taken their operations as well. So we might be old and a bit fat, but we know how to shoot, and we are great troopers, and we are going to do whatever it takes in order to keep and save our families. We have a lot of experience, and sometimes experience is much more important than being in a good shape. I mean, if I can say so.
Right.
Yeah.
So would you be able to share with us Habitchonistim, we call it in English IDSF, what relationship, what involvement has IDSF had in your squad, and is there anything that you still need to be prepared?
Yeah. Okay. At first, we've been unprepared, of course, in all terms. Okay, and Amir already gave a brief on this. This is not my part. What I can say is that we were working hard on find gear, okay, for the squad. We understand and we know that Israel and our strong army will provide us with whatever it needs, but this is no time now to interrupt the army with this kind of requests. So we have been managed to arrange just about almost everything that we need for the next couple of weeks, of course. Everything that is really military-based gear, we understand that we will get this. What we been able to get from the Bitronistim, which was amazing, was mainly gear that related to lights, flashlights on on each and every one of us, on our weapon, a personal flashlight, as well as on our helmets. So we are good to go in these kind of terms. What we are now looking for, as I've said earlier, we are trying not only to protect our current environment, but also we are being prepared to the next future. So we are looking for parts and gear that I believe that the army would not be able to provide us with this. But as we are citizens of this village, we are willing to even open ourselves and our own pockets for this. So we are really trying hard in raising funds for these campaigns, including us, of course. We are now thinking of on having like CCTVs for the next future. We are looking for being able to have like a small vehicle that can go around the agriculture areas that we have. It's really hard to move around because of these orchards that we have. We need small cars that being able to ride fast. The army is not going to provide us with this, okay? If you will think maybe that it's luxury in these days, but right now, I mean, as I've said earlier, we want to do everything, not only to be able to go back right now to our houses, but also to promise and to be very certain, okay, about the way we look at our kids and know that we have everything we need in order to protect them, even if it is not like a regular, normal gear being provided by the army, right?
Dotan, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me here.
I know you have a lot going on. It's really great that you're with us. Maybe we'll get some final remarks first from Yifa, and then we'll close with General Avivi.
First of all, Dotan, kol hakavod. It's very inspiring. A lot of people, we see. I've said since the beginning of this war that it's, and it's our darkest hour here in Israel, but it's also our finest hour. And we see our people unite, and we see acts of heroism and creativity and unity, and that gives me hope for the future. No Hamas deal will be able to overcome, our unity and our determination. So, just to say thank you to all of you.
Thank you.
General Avivi, please.
Yeah, so I must say that I'll share with you a bit all our different projects. We're bringing huge amounts of equipment to all over Israel, to the teams in the towns, but also to soldiers. And now we're getting into the winter, and there are many issues with tents for soldiers, generators, equipment for winter. This last Sunday, I went with our team to near the border of Egypt and Gaza to an artillery battery, and we brought them a big new tent, and they were so happy. There are really many logistical issues which we try to assist the army and of course the border patrol and all the units. And we're getting more and more donors wanting to work with us because we have a software. We have more than 300 units that are connected to the software and what they need, and then we know exactly what to bring to each unit. It's not just equipment that goes around and nothing happens with it. This is very accurate. We also have a project that connects between handymen and families that mother or father or both are in the army now, in reserve, and they need to fix things in the house, and these handymen are volunteering and doing everything with their own time, and many families need this. So this is a very interesting project that makes many families very, very happy. And we are continuing to recruit people for the National Guard and for different missions, while doing things we do all the time: TV, media, diplomats, and all of that. And we're continuing to meet with the top echelon of Israel, with the Prime Minister, Minister of Defense, discussing all these really complex issues that need to be discussed, because this is all very, very complicated. Decisions are not easy, and therefore we really need to bring the best advice and the policy papers and everything that is needed to really take the right decisions. So thank you, Michelle. Thank you, everybody, for taking the time. And we'll continue next week unless there are questions, Moshe, that you want to answer.
General, I think this is a good place to stop. We're out of time, and your internet link seems to be a little weak. So we'll end here. We will thank everyone for joining us. Again, a happy Thanksgiving, and we'll see you next week, Monday, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Thank you so much, Yafa. Thank you so much, Dotan, for joining us, and thank you, of course, to all of our viewers. Take care, everyone.